Good. Oh, I lost my voice. Good morning, grinders. Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka Blenderhead, Blender HT. If you want to follow me on Twitter, and it's Wednesday, July 5th. I hope you had a good 4th of July, good Independence Day. Hopefully you came out, you didn't blow your hand off with some fireworks or anything, right? No, people that watch this show, they don't do that stupid stuff, right? Well, you never know. Maybe you did. Yet I'm not going to ask you guys if you blew your hand off with fireworks. You don't have to hit the thumbs up button because you probably can't, right? I don't know how you get to your mouse, right? You blew your hand off. But for those that still have their fingers, hit the thummy thumbs. Give me the thummy thumbs. Hit the thumbs up button, the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. Hit everything. Hit everything if you can. We're unstructured learning about DFS strategy. If you want a more comprehensive look, you get the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports 15-hour audio DFS masterclass, as well as the Advanced Players Guide, which includes the custom Excel tools. Perfect addition to go along with Lineup HQ here at RotoGrinders. You can pick up both at theoryofdfs.com. Tank Forever says, can confirm typing this good morning with my nose. Okay, I guess he blew up his hands. Does that still happen? Does that still even happen anymore? Right? And people did. It must. It must. I mean, what type of fireworks are you blowing on? What? I have no idea. Obviously, last night, my dog's going nuts, right? I'm kind of in a suburbanish area, so it's not like that close to me, but whatever. So, but 2 a.m, people are still setting off fireworks. Come on. What's the deal? Who cares? Who cares about it? Just a normal day, right? So someone said to me, it's like, oh, why do you have to be such a pain in the ass? So we gained our independence today. We have the right to celebrate. We didn't do anything. We weren't around. We weren't around back then. We didn't do nothing, right? We just happened to be born here. We live here, and yeah, it's nice. Our independence is nice, but we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. So stop with the fireworks. Old man yelling at cloud or whatever, and the guy, get off my lawn, whatever. But good morning, Wataz, Early Birds, Brian C. Decent slate yesterday in MLB. I don't know if you guys played it. We got a big slate today, and I just wanted to go through because I got some questions in, some just like generalized questions about like adjusting ownership type of thing, the types of stuff that I do like manually that maybe don't get shown here, I guess. For the most part, is that my adjustments are 2 things. One, I do it like I'm talking about. This is like 20 minutes before the slate starts, so it's like I don't know what I should be adjusting this ownership to. I have no idea right now at 11 in the morning. And number 2, it's not a scientific process. It's a completely, I think this guy is going to be more owned. So I think it's this, right? I don't look to have it add up to 100 or anything because I really don't care about like, well, is Michael Soroka going to be 1.52% owned or is he going to be 2.26% owned? Like, I don't care about that. It's really the main, the players that are more likely to be in my lineups. I need to get the ownership more correct for a reason, because the lineups that I play, I want to have the proper leverage of projection versus ownership. So to just show that fact, I wanted to spend today going through the trimming process. Like in Theory of DFS, we have a custom Excel tool called the Portfolio Trimmer that will do this for you automatically. But I've shown that in Lineup HQ, you can do this manually yourself. You build lineups, and then you remove any lineup that has a higher projection, that has a higher ownership than the lineup above it that has a lower projection. So essentially, the first lineup is 180 projection, 100 ownership, and the next lineup is 170 projection. It should be lower than 100% ownership. If it's 102, that means as the projection goes down, the ownership should go down with it. So removing those lineups, and what that does as a byproduct, if you do it, it will show you what players are more over-owned or more under-owned. So the players that have ownership that you barely get any of, those players are too high owned for their projection. It doesn't mean you can't make plus EV lineups with them, but that's the byproduct of that process. And the ones that show up a lot, you have like, oh, I have 68% of this like 3% owned player. Well, that means that that player's projection is much higher than his expected ownership. So one way you could do this is by just running lineups. Now, I'm just going to run 25-man stack lineups with the current bat projections as of what, 11:07 in the morning. So obviously, if you're watching this and don't take this as any advice for this card, the slate tonight. It's just I'm using these numbers as if like they're gospel. This is what they're going to be. They're going to change. So if I build 20 lineups, for instance, right, 5-man stack, right, you don't even have to do that. I mean, just typically baseball lineups on DraftKings are going to have 5-man stacks, right? So look, you get a lot of Devers, Lopez. I mean, basically because you're just getting the highest projected 20 lineups. I mean, with 5-man stacks, no diversity, no nothing, right? Just whatever. Okay. We take a look at pitchers, right? 100% Pablo Lopez, 18% Bobby Miller, 10% Seth Lugo right now. Okay. So you get all the Pablo Lopez. Now, if we start cutting out, like we see here, this is automatically sorted by fantasy points. So the projection just goes down from here. We take away 175.04 is the highest. This one is 168 below it. So as we go down, the ownership should go down also. See, this lineup is 174, but it's actually lower projected than the lineup above it. So we're going to get rid of it, right? We have to beat 168.93. This is 167.38. 176. See, this is too high owned, right? It goes down in projection, but the ownership doesn't go down. It goes back up. So you get rid of that lineup, right? 167.38, 169.42. That's more ownership also. Get rid of that. 165. Okay, so as we go down, ownership sum 165. 172. Nope, we get rid of that. 174. Get rid of that. 175. We get rid of that. 166. We get rid of that. 173. 171. Okay, here's 164. Right, so now we're still going down. It's all linear. 162. 158. 163. No good. 168. No good. 163. Yep. Nope. That's no good either. Okay. We got 166 down here. Nope. That's no good. Okay. So we can see here. I mean, you do this with more lineups, but with 20 lineups, we can see we go to player exposures. Right. You get all the Rafael Devers, all the Jaron Duran, David Hamilton. I mean, we should really be doing this with more lineups. I think it'll be easier to show this way. Maybe I'll even. I was going to bring up the Theory DFS tool, but I don't think I have time to necessarily set that up here. So let's get a little bit more diversity just to get more lineups. Because obviously you're going to get all the Pablo. I mean, we started out with all the Red Sox and the Lopez anyway, so obviously that's going to show up. But like Yoshida, Connor Wong. Looks like the Red Sox may actually be under-owned, but I don't know. We just don't have enough lineups. So let's build more lineups. Okay, so let's build 100. Let's do this process for 100. I can do this quickly. Okay, and we'll add some. Okay, so get some different lineups. So unique players 4. Do we add some? Do we want to add random? We could. I mean, it doesn't matter. We have 49K lineups, maybe. Doesn't matter. Anything else? I mean, we could add randomness, I guess. So let's add a little bit, right? Maybe not team level random, maybe 20%, 20%, whatever. Just to get different lineups, so I could show what happens. So here we go. 5-man stacks, 5x. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna build 100 lineups. Brian C asks, as this is running, Which strategy has a higher IEV? Playing 3 lineups in the 3 entry max or playing 10 lineups in a 20 max GPP? The 3 entry, right? Neither. Like the question doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's why it would be helpful to actually watch these shows. Neither of them are a strategy, first off. What is the most, Brian, I'm gonna ask you, and you're gonna answer in the YouTube chat. What is your goal? Let's get down to even the simplest of things. What is your goal in playing DFS? My goal is to make money. Okay. What is the easiest way to make money? Playing against the weakest people possible. Okay. You tell me there's a contest out there. It doesn't matter how many entries there are, what the limits are, what the payout structure is. You're going to tell me that the people that blew their hands off with the fireworks are mashing their nose against the screen and playing God knows what. And that's the whole contest. And me. Like, that's the contest I want to play. Playing 3 lineups in 3 entry max. Would I want to play 3 lineups into a 3 entry max that has the greatest players in the history of DFS? No bad lineups. Like, no, there's literally no bad lineups in that contest. Or 10 lineups in a 20 max GPP that has the worst players known to man. Well, you know what I'm going to play? The 10 lineups in the 20 max GPP. But if you told me the 20 max GPP, no bad players play. I mean, it's like literally like the bad play. I go down the street, I can see bad players. They go, I stay away from that contest. I play 3 lineup. They play the 3 max, 3 entry max. You know what contest I'm playing? I'm playing the 3 entry max. There's no answer. There's no inherently. Neither of those matter. You play where the worst players are. End of story. Now, how you play each contest is going to be different, but optimally, how you play each contest will be different. Playing the Millie Maker in NFL and playing a 30-man, non-guaranteed GPP require different lineups, right? The lineup that you play in the Millie Maker is probably not the lineup you play in the 30-man contest, right? 30-man contest, you're not going to sacrifice in NFL. You're not going to sacrifice 20 points of projection for a 30-man contest. Yeah, in the Millie Maker, you would. Regardless of how strong or weak the competition is. That would be the difference of how you play each contest. Brian C. said, I like to win a GBP, but in the long run, I want to be profitable. Well, obviously, then the last thing matters more than anything. If you want to win a GPP, you got to play GPPs. Obviously. If your goal is to win a large field GPP, then you have to play large field GPPs. Yeah, but what happens if I go broke? Well, then you didn't say anything about that being any part of your goal. My goal is to make money. End of story. Doesn't matter how I do it. Literally doesn't matter. If someone's willing to play me head-to-head $500 a day and builds lineups that I'm like a 9-1 favorite over, dude, you'll never see me in anything else. My first $500 goes into that contest. Doesn't matter. I don't get any RotoGrinders points for it. You have to stop thinking like that, well, how many lineups in this contest versus that? You need to start building plus EV lineups. End of story. I don't mean to scold, but that matters. If and Brian C. asked the question that you're not going to like the answer. How do I find those bad players? If you ask the question, you're one of them. Can't spot the sucker at the table. Guess who's the sucker? Have you downloaded the CSVs? Do you know? I mean, trend-wise, the largest field GPPs are the weakest fields. The lower stakes contests are the weakest fields in general. Now, obviously, there's, the bum hunting head-to-heads. There's stuff like that. But in general, when it comes to like tournaments, GPPs, the relay throw on DraftKings is going to be the weakest field. They're running the Mega Mini Max for $3. That also is going to be, that's going to be the weak, that's going to be the weakest field. We've discussed this before. Download and see. You're not, most likely after a month, you're not going to have to ever download the CSVs again. You're going to be like, oh, how many percentage you could literally import the lineups into the Theory DFS tools, into the portfolio trimmer, and then take a look at all the lineups if you wanted to. And go, let me take a look at yesterday's lineups, what all the projections were based on your projections or whichever source that you use. And you go and you see, okay, how many lineups had a projection that was like 40 points lower than any of my lineups? And you go, okay, that's probably a bad lineup. How many lineups have like absolutely no correlation in it for baseball at least? How many lineups have, ownership that's 1,000,000%? Well, that's a bad lineup also. And you go, okay, what percentage of the contest make up those lineups? You go, oh, 27%. It's like, okay, well, there you go. Then you look at another contest. And you go, how many lineups make up that? And you go, 17%. It's like, well, the one with the more bad lineups is the more profitable contest, most likely. You could also do it by 150 max. Like typically, anyone that's playing 150 entries into a contest is typically a good player because you can't last long doing that. So just looking at what percentage of the lineups are from 150 maxers. So like today in the relay throw, the same people that are playing 150 in the relay throw are probably playing 150 in the Mega Mini Max. But the Mega Mini Max is like 47,000 entries, while the relay throw has like what, 15, 16,000? So percentage-wise, right? If 50 people, 150, that's what, 7,500 lineups? Well, 75 out of 15,000 is half the lineups. 7,500 out of 50,000 is what? 20% of the lineups? Something like that, less than that. 15% of the lineups. So that would be a weaker contest. It would be the contest that you would be playing. Doesn't matter how many entries. Well, how many? It doesn't matter. Every lineup, the EV of every lineup is independent of one another. It doesn't matter. Obviously, the more and more lineups that you enter, the more and more confident you need to be that you're entering good enough lineups compared to the field. Because remember, your second lineup can't win the same amount as your first lineup. And your third lineup can't win the same amount as your first and second lineup. So as you add more lineups, you need to make sure that they are actually profitable. So we go through here. Okay, I built 100 lineups. Still 91% Pablo Lopez. Right, still a ton of Red Sox. Still a ton of Red Sox. What other stacks do we got? Okay, we got Red Sox. Okay, we got something. We got other people. We got other things here. Right? Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go down. Right, we built some candidate set of lineups, 100 lineups. Get rid of this one. Okay, and I'm going to go and I'm going to, start getting rid of lineups. 162, 166, no good. Right, 158, 154, 152, 159 is no good. 147. We have to beat 147. Get rid of the ones in between. And obviously, I could do this in my Excel tool way easier. I'm showing it manually for those that either don't have that tool or just so you see what it is doing. People ask me questions about the smart trim function and the theory of DFS portfolio trimmer, and they don't even understand what it does. Oh, that's what tells me what lineups are plus EV. No, it doesn't tell you that. All it's doing is removing lineups in between of like if you had to choose between this lineup and that lineup inside of your set, one is going to be slightly better than the other, slightly more EV. All the lineups can be negative EV. It's just that this one in comparison to the other one. Why you playing a lineup that is lower projected and higher owned in comparison to one another when given the choice? Doesn't mean you can't play all of them. It's not doing anything special. Everything that it gets rid of are bad lineups. So it's like, no, the lineups that it get rid of doesn't have to be bad line. They're not good or bad. 147. Here we beat 147. 161. Okay, let's see. 144. 143. 141. Let's try to beat 141. 136. 136. Just keep on going. We get rid of the ones in between. We have to beat 136. That's because as we go down, the projection goes down. So the ownership should go down also. 136 we got to beat. 133. Okay, we keep that one. Keep on going down. This is a blunt method. Remember, this is not like this is not precise, but this is a blunt way using ownership sum and median projection on getting down to lineups that, at least in your set of lineups, should be higher EV than the others. And then your exposures at the end should show that if you get a lot of a guy, that they're probably under-owned. If you get not much of a guy, right, that has a good projected ownership, they're probably over. So 133, 138. Let's get rid of 133. We gotta beat 133. Right? I did 100. I mean, I could do like 1,500 in the trimmer with like 5 sets of 300. So it doesn't have to be this slow. But I mean, if you're only playing like 1, 2, 3 lineups, I mean, you could do this stuff manually. You could build 300 and do this. I could do this. I could do 300 manually in maybe 5 minutes. Well, because I've been so used to doing it. That's why we made an Excel tool to do it for me. 133. Can we beat 133? Are we got any lineups that are under 133% owned? Keep on going. 131. Okay, we got 131. I mean, this is thrilling TV, right? To watch me do this. 131. I've shown this before. 131, 13. Okay, this one's lower. Okay. 129. 128. This is no good. 115. We're getting there. 115. Can we beat 115? Can we beat it? We got 49 lives. Oh, right. Okay. We could have beat. That was 113. I accidentally deleted it. So now you would beat 113. Try to go too fast. 113. Anything under 113? Because you also get a clumping issue on the bottom that most likely you're not playing those lineups anyway. Okay, 115, 106. 106. 102. 102. That's 103. Anything that beats 102. 96. What is the optimal, by the way? 117. Okay, 103. That's a swing of the bat. 96. 96. And we beat 96. We're almost there. 96. Come on. Yeah, now we're getting way too low. Then now the projection's going down a little. 97 points. 96. 98. Yeah, probably get rid of all the ones on the bottom. There you go. Okay. So now we're down to 18 lineups. We can take a look at like the projected ownership, right? How much you're getting. You still get look how much Pablo Lopez is still here. So it's quite possible at 51 with the projected of being 51.68, as of obviously what it has right here. He may still be under-owned. Pablo Lopez at 52% ownership, according to the bat projections, as of 11 o'clock in the morning. Like these numbers. People may go, "Oh, I can't play a 50% owned pitcher." Well, from the looks of it, he may be under-owned. And it looks like that Seth Lugo, because you're getting 61% in the rest of your lineup, 61% Seth Lugo, 28% Bobby Miller. But Bobby Miller's 31% owned. Seth Lugo is 19% owned. And based on that difference, Seth Lugo looks to be under-owned, right? It looks like Justin Steele, if we look at the pitchers especially, right? On pitcher ownership, it looks like Justin Steele is going to be over-owned based on the bat projection, based on the projected ownership being 19. Just tell me Justin Steele is going to be 5% owned, maybe he's not under-owned. But it looks like Pablo Lopez is under-owned, Seth Lugo is under-owned, Bobby Miller, it's close. He's fine. Justin Steele under-owned. And it looks like Lance Lynn, they fit in. Lynn and Sandoval are fine. Right? And then if we take a look at all hitters, like stack-wise, looks like we're still getting tons of the Red Sox. At their current ownership, Devers at 18%, Hamilton at 10%, Verdugo 4%, Duran 13%, Connor Wong 5%. Looks like the Red Sox are probably under-owned. Just even take a look at just the hitters. Right, we're still getting a ton. Look, even though Devers is like 18% projected owned, still getting a ton of them. So we take a look at we sort by ownership. We could see Red Sox, right? Cassis is there. Is there anyone else? It looks like the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays may be a little under-owned. So I'm getting a lot more Guerrero, Brandon Belt. Or the Rangers. I get a little bit more of the Rangers in this set. I mean, obviously, it's only what, 28 lineups, 18 lineups. That's what it looks like. Even though it's an 11-game slate. So obviously the Red Sox, I mean, at their ownership is probably the chalkiest stack on the slate. It looks like the Red Sox, the Rangers, the Blue Jays. All right, is there anyone that's like owned that not that much of? I guess the Dodgers, right? Only one Will Smith lineup. Don't see many Reds here, I guess. Are the Reds going to be popular? I don't know, 6%. But this is what you would do. Like if you want to know like under-owned and over-owned and that type of place. But what happens is this is based on the current projection and the current projected ownership. Let's say, for instance, we talked about that Bobby Miller, Seth Lugo thing, right? Bobby Miller, 31% projected owned, Lugo at 19% projected owned. Okay? So especially when they're very close in price. So let's change the ownership. Let's say you think Lugo is going to be more owned than Miller. Or they're going to be about the same. Right? Let's say they're both, you go, okay, I think they're both going to be about 25%. Right? How would that change things? What lineups would be different? Let's say Pablo Lopez is not going to be 51% on. You go, I think he's going to end up being like 70% owned. Oh, his raw points are just worth so much here. But maybe we start getting more Justin Steele. Maybe go Justin Steele is going to be 19% owned. Maybe Justin Steele is only going to be 9% owned or 10% owned. Let's make it even. 10% owned. That's going to change things. Right? We won't even bother with the hitters, but just to show this, let's use an extreme example. Let's say I think Pablo is going to be 80% owned. I don't think he will be, but I'm using this as an example. So now let's run lineups with this. Let's put Justin Steele down at 5%, just to show the extremes. Right, and Bobby Miller and Seth Lugo, let's put both at 30%. Both at there. They're both at 30%. Okay, so let's build 100 lineups now with the adjusted ownership. Swaggly says our round robin's a bad bet. I was 44 for 50 on props yesterday, and only was plus $50 on the day. That's not good. I don't know what. Are you just straight? If you're betting straight on straight props, then it doesn't matter. I'm assuming you're talking about like prize picks and stuff. If you had 50 props, you know how many bets, how many cards you need to have? So they're not a bad bet. I don't know. You're just not doing them. I mean, if you have 50 props, you realize how many 2 picks that could be. I mean, I don't even know how you get in that many. You'd be at your computer all day doing it, right? Prop 1 and prop 2, prop 1 and prop 3, prop 1 and prop 4, prop 1 and prop 5, prop 1. I mean, it's like 49 of those. Then there's 48 on the next one. Then there's 47 on the next one. It's called factorial. Sportsbook, mostly parlays. Nah, why would you parlay? Just bet them straight. What are you doing? Why are you making parlays at all? Obviously, they're plus EV parlay. Yes, you're increasing your variance. I'm not saying parlays in and of themselves. I had 2 8 for 9 and lost. What are you doing? Is your goal to make money? Then just bet the props. What's so complicated about this? Yesterday, like for instance, yesterday I had what did we have yesterday? Yesterday I had the Dunning under, right? Dunning under, Giolito under, Sears under on both pitching outs and strikeouts. The pitching outs didn't come through. What else? And Ortiz under, right? The only thing that missed was Sears actually pitched what 22 outs, 7 and 7.1, but he didn't get enough strikeouts. So just bet them individually. 8 and 9. Why are you betting 9-leg parlays? Just make money. If you were 44 for 50 on props, you should have cleaned house. If I had 50 props to bet yesterday, I mean, the size of the cards are going to be so small. But I mean, if dude, 44 out of 50 is what I mean. That's like 85%, right? Right, 88%. If you were 88% on the day, dude, if I was 88% on the day every day, I wouldn't be talking to you people. I mean, of course, that's not sustainable. Just bet them straight. I was thinking that you're like prize picks and underdog where you have to parlay. You're forced these like minus 137 type parlays. That's why I do 2 picks on those. But if you're at the sports book, just if I had sportsbook access, which hopefully by the end of the year I will. I mean, I would have just bet like $500 on Giolito's under 6.5 or whatever it was. And maybe not all at one place, right? Try to find the best line, right? The best number possible. But it'd be minus 112 or minus 107 or whatever the hell it is. To get $500 down. Then I would go to Ortiz. Ortiz under would have been under 3.5. You get $500 down on that. The bigger the edge that you have, the more money you'd like to get down on them. And that's it. Dude. You go 55+% on some of these, like just normal props, not like home runs and stolen bases, where you don't have to hit them that frequently. When you're betting like plus 800, plus 600, those types of things. If you go 44 for 50, there's no reason you should be cleaning up. Swaggly says I do about 70% a day. 70% a day on props. I have a hard time with bankroll management and contest wagers. Like, yeah, well, obviously you don't have a concept of what you should be betting on. Why you do 9-leg parlays on props? Just bet them outright. I know maybe you don't have that big of a bankroll. Bet $5 each on all of them. $5 each on 50 props is $250, and there you go. 44 out of 50. You should have made at a $250. You should have made what? $200? Easy. Betting $5 each. Something like that, right? Bizarre. Just bet the goddamn props. JWH asks, what do you think about only playing 6-leg prop plays on Prize Picks since the implied odds need to beat on 6 is minus 119 versus minus 137? In the long run, yes, but good luck. Good luck winning those. I mean, obviously you're increasing your variance because you're not going to hit 6-leg prop plays that often. You also have to be able to find 6 of them. Dude, there's some days I can't find 6 that are worth even putting down. Yeah, minus 119 is, you're right, it is better. But I mean, who says you can find many of those? Typically, if you find minus 119, you're finding minus 137 as it is. I prefer two round robin 2 picks. Underdog, I'll do a little bit more because underdog, the 3 pick pays more than Prize Picks. So I'm much more likely to wheel 3 picks on underdog and 2 picks on Prize Picks. But yes, dude, the 5-6 leg flex type of stuff is a slightly lower hold. Yes, you're right. But imagine being the swaggly guy. I have 50 of them. There's no CSV upload for these things. Good luck manually entering every combination of 5 pick that you have out of 50. You might as well beat your head against a wall. Okay, so we ran these lineups right here. Obviously, still getting a ton of Pablo Lopez. So we ran all these lineups again with the new pit to add the adjusted pitcher ownership. Okay, so we're going to get rid of now, obviously, 196, 197. So we're going to start getting rid of these, the same thing that we did before. 196, 188, 186. Can we beat 186? Keep on going. 186, 89? Is that close? Nope. Doesn't get there. 186, 185. 185. Nope, no good. 191. 182 is good. Okay, we got to beat 182. 174. 166. 101. Oh, wait, no. That was a speech of schmutz on my monitor. 166. 191. I'm like, that dropped really heavily. So we're getting rid of everything until we get to beat 166. Right. 166. Remember, this is with the adjusted ownership, which is obviously extreme. It's not what I think it's going to be, but at the time, this is what you would adjust the ownership to what you think. And how does it affect who is over-owned and who is under-owned? What lineups that come out? 166. They beat 166. 167 is no good. 166. 167. Nope. 166. 154. Okay, now we got to beat 154. $154. Where are you? And like I said, this process is way quicker. You do it in the portfolio trimmer tool as part of the theory of DFS for advanced players. This is the manual way to do it. 151. Okay. But you don't need that. You could do it this way. It just takes longer. In the portfolio trimmer in Excel, it takes 2 seconds. If that. 149. Okay. Can we beat 149? 149. Where? Oh, 146. Okay, we got 146. Can we beat 146? 139. Another 139. Okay, that's good also. 139.42. 139.19. 125. 125. Can we beat 125? Come on. We're almost there. 125. 115. Okay, we got a 115er. Let's see if we could beat 115. 104. Okay. Got a 104. Now the points are going way down. Okay, 98. Then maybe the last lineup we go for. 82. Okay, we could do the 82 one. Yeah, let's cut it off right there. Okay, so we're down 19 lineups. Okay. We do the same thing that we did before. Take a look at ownership. Let's take a look at those pictures again. Right? At the projected ownership that we changed it to, Pablo Lopez at 80% owned, you're still getting like 79% of. So one could say that Pablo Lopez at 80% owned, he may be efficiently owned. Maybe he should be 80% owned. Obviously, once we made Bobby Miller and Seth Lugo at similar ownership, since Bobby Miller is projected for like 1 point higher than Lugo, we're getting a little bit more Bobby Miller than Seth Lugo. While the other way, when it was 31-19 in projected ownership, Seth Lugo was under-owned and Bobby Miller was over-owned. Now it looks like they're much more efficiently owned. Actually, Lugo looks like over-owned here if he was 30% owned. And then look, at 5% ownership, we're getting a lot more Justin Steele now. Now Steele is under-owned. Sandoval, you're getting a little bit more Sandoval. You're getting Alex Cobb in there. I don't know if that matters that much. You see here, it's like, okay, maybe the efficient ownership on Pablo Lopez should be 80% on this slate. And Bobby Miller and Seth Lugo should be closer in ownership. I mean, these are the types of things that you could look at and just tell. Like if I don't have to run all of this. You could look and I could go, okay, let me take a look at ownership. And I go, Bobby Miller, like this is the one we currently have, 31-19. I would look and I go, it's very similar price, right? Miller's 400 more. He's only 1 point higher projected. And the ownership is like a 3-2 gap. I could look at this and go, yeah, Lugo's probably a little under-owned, at least in relation to Bobby Miller. And I'd look at this and I'd go, Justin Steele's 10.3K. And Bobby Miller at 2,000 cheaper is a half a point better projected. So you look, Justin Steele probably shouldn't be 19% owned. He probably should be under that. If he's going to be 19% owned, he'd be over-owned, right? You could just look. You could literally just look because that's how lineups, that's the concept of how lineups get made. You want to get the most projection for the least salary and at the least ownership. So once you put in that lens, you may not even have to go. I could just eyeball it. And I could go here and I could look and I go, yeah, based on that. And then based on looking around and how people build lineups, I may go like, yeah, the fact that Justin Steele projects for just 16 at 10.3K, maybe he's not going to be 19% owned. Maybe enough people see that, oh, they're not getting that much of him in lineups. So maybe he ends up coming in at 10. Right? It's not a matter of like, oh, this guy touted him or something like that. It's just, I tried building a bunch of lineups and I didn't get much of Justin Steele. I have to expect my opponents that may end up happening to my opponents as well. So I will reduce his ownership. And I go, okay, about 10. 10 sounds good. Well, how much did you reduce it? There's no that for me to answer that question. There's no answer. I pull numbers out of a hat. I mean, just off the top of my head. I was just like, oh, Pablo Lopez, he's going to be 51. Is he going to be 60? And I change the number to whatever I feel like, or just leave it alone. If I look, I see certain stacks coming up way too much. I go, okay, let's go to the Red Sox, right? I would just go. I would just say, okay, I'm going to go over there, go to the Red Sox, right? I would look here. I would look at the point per dollar wise, the highest projected players, right? Type of thing, and obviously the highest raw points. So maybe I'd be like Devers is 26 and Hamilton is 14 and Casas and Turner both share a position, so maybe you don't get as much of a bump from him. Maybe he's 12. Maybe Jaron Duran is more like, because he's 2,800 and leading off, maybe he's more like 20% owned. Maybe Connor Wong goes up to 8%. Right? This is what I do. Maybe Verdugo's more like 7%, and Arroyo is more like 10%. Justin Turner may not move that much, 5%. Yoshida has some raw points, but he may not be owned that much. Right? Maybe I do that. And then I run lineups. Right? After I run, and I go, okay, I'm getting a lot of this team. I also have to expect other people are going to get a lot of this team also, which means their ownership is going to go up. Pretty self-explanatory. But like the numbers I just changed them to, like, why'd you change them to this? And why'd you? I decided to. There's no scientific process. I'm not nerdy tenor. I'm not running it through. I'm just, from my experience, knowing how the fields play. I go, I think this team is going to be higher owned than this. By how much? I don't know. I'm just going to make a judgment call. Am I going to be wrong sometimes? Sure. But I'm right more often than not. I tend to nail a lot of the key ownership much more than some ownership projection. So yeah, so I trust myself. There's no scientific process to it. Okay. If you got any questions, obviously send them in. Questions@theoryofdfs.com. That's what we do on the show, right? You send in your questions and I answer them. Right? So questions@theoryofdfs.com. Another show tomorrow, right? Answering more questions. And MMA on Friday. We'll take a first look at the UFC slate. This slate boy for UFC. Good luck finding an underdog. Jeez. There's look at my obviously, Bo Nickel just got a new opponent, Val Woodburn. He's going to be like minus 2,300, right? Jack Della Maddalena, that it's not even in the system, so he's going to be a million. Look at these dude, like 2-1 favorites are like, oh, that's going to be a close man. Look, we have 5-1s, 9-1s, 10-1s. They're going to be people being destroyed on Saturday. And good luck finding any of them. Basically, if you're able to find the 1 or 2 underdogs that actually do win, you got it. And then you still have to pick, the right, 2 or 3 of like 8 other fighters that could score 100 million points. Which ones are going to be better? It's one hell of a slate. One hell of a slate. But we'll talk about that on Friday. I'll answer your questions. More questions tomorrow. So submit them. Questions@theoryofdfs.com. We got Grinders Live later today. Crunch time. We got Scores and Odds channel. We got Will just did the take him, pick him. You can take him and leave him if you want. If you want to leave him, just feel free to leave him or take him or pick him. Do any of those things. But yeah, so we got tons of stuff on the channel. So subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door, and I'll see you tomorrow answering your DFS strategy questions like I always do. Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.